Hi everyone and welcome to Theme Park Worldwide, bringing the latest theme park and attraction news from all around the globe. In this video I'm going to be sharing an update on what has happened to Project Horizon at Alton Towers. It's been over 2 years since we first heard about this project, a major new indoor ride planned for a part of Alton Towers that hasn't been built on for over 30 years. So I wanted to film an update. It's been actually over a year since I last spoke about this on the channel, and I thought this would be the perfect time to film an update. Firstly, because we've heard a few new things about this project, and also as well the fact that yesterday we filmed an update regarding that new junior coaster planned for 2026 in CBeebies Land. I know there's quite a few people that saw that video and thought, hang on a minute, what's happened to Project Horizon? Why are we just not getting any updates on that from the park? So I thought it would be the perfect time to share a bit of an update. We'll have a bit of a recap over some key dates in the past for this project, a recap on what the building was going to be, and also as well just talking a bit in general about this project and some things that we've heard about it too. Now firstly, I just wanted to get it in straight away that I firmly believe that Project Horizon is still on the cards as a ride for Alton Towers. I know there's been some rumours and speculation the fact that Chessington are going to be building a new indoor coaster planned for 2027, that this was, you know, that ride was originally going to be at Alton Towers as Project Horizon. Not at all, not in the slightest from what we're hearing. Two completely separate projects, unrelated mostly, other than maybe one thing that I'll talk about later on in the episode. But yeah, as far as we're aware, the two completely separate projects. The fact that Chessington's getting their new indoor coaster does not affect Project Horizon at Alton Towers, which is good. Now let's just have a bit of a recap on the project first before I go into a few things about why I think we're seeing this delay to hearing any more about it. So of course this is a major new indoor ride that is planned to go behind the world of David Walliams in a huge building, like the biggest building on site, a huge show building planned for an indoor roller coaster. Now as much as the plans did never really state that it would be a roller coaster, a building of this nature would definitely be used for an indoor roller coaster. It's got the height, it's got the length to it as well, and of course there was all sorts of rumours about the sort of coaster that Alton Towers were looking at. Probably going to be Secret Weapon 9 in the Alton Towers series of secret weapons. Of course you go back to Secret Weapon 3, which was Nemesis, 4, Oblivion, etc. So they've got this secret weapon programme which they codename the major roller coasters. Of course the previous secret weapon opened in 2018, SW8, and that was Wicker Man. So we're due SW9, and we definitely will be by the time this comes around to opening. So I'm certain that this new ride will be codenamed Secret Weapon 9, and of course will be an indoor roller coaster. So located on a piece of land right behind the world of David Walliams, which is the family area. I don't think it would be related to David Walliams because they're actually looking at building a new access path between that area and also the dungeon, and it was going to be a path that leads straight down to it. Now it sounds like plans and things have been changing and things that behind the scenes, so maybe we could see that change. By the time this ends up getting built, maybe David Walliams' license may have expired. We may see them now expand, you know, and make it part of that area, or it could remain standalone. It was always planned originally to be standalone in its new area. But things could change, especially now the Alton Towers dungeon has permanently closed throughout the rest of the year as well, and into next year. Obviously that'll lead us with the year and a half of the dungeon closed. I'd be surprised if that ever reopens, to be honest. I think they'll have other plans for that building. They've put a temporary scare attraction in there at the moment, well, a family attraction, but obviously that is prime real estate for something new as well. And you've already got a ride system in there with the boat ride and a large building that could be utilised. So maybe we could see Project Horizon expand to create a wider area than was originally planned. But still, a massive show building, got some great height to it, a great length, and they actually got the planning permission to build this as well, which is quite a feat for Alton Towers. In the past, they have struggled with planning applications, and especially when it comes to building above the tree height, that's something that they can't genuinely do, even though some of the rides are borderline on the tree height, and so was this building actually. You know, it was a huge building, what they're planning on building here. So fingers crossed, you know, everything does still go ahead and happen, but I'm pretty certain that it will do, even though it's all been a little bit later than we were expecting. Let's just go into a bit of a time frame about Project Horizon. So it was early September 2022, so yeah, way over 2 years ago, when we first heard details about the project. Alton Towers stated that more information would be coming soon. They were planning on building a new indoor ride on a piece of land that hasn't been used for over 30 years. that piece of land used to be part of the active theme park. They used to have the Alton Mouse down there, various other rides, and obviously it used to actually be part of the main park itself and then became back of house. It's got a lot of storage there now. It's a dumping ground. I mean, when I used to work there, you got like all the tip round there, like the waste disposal area. There's bits of old rides and props and theming. There's a lot back there. You've also got currently Merlin Magic Making. I mean, as we heard, Merlin are actually closing down Merlin Magic Making at Studios North. So that also frees up more space down at the back there. So potentially, you know, we could see other things change, or this area could be expanded in the future. But no, really sad about Merlin Magic Making and the staff that are going to be losing their jobs early next year up there. But obviously, you know, that is also located in this back of house area here. So there is a chance that that could also be related to this project. Maybe we're going to see the area expand out further there. Maybe that site's needed for construction, machinery whilst they're building this. Anything is possible, but I think it's a real shame that they're losing Merlin Magic Making, a real asset to the company. So yeah, early September 2022, the first details about the project. It was then early November 2022 when the full plan application was submitted, and we saw all the details about this ride. We saw the size of the building, and obviously no details about the interior other than the fact that it stated a few things like, you know, the ride that we would put in there could be built off site and transported in, basically like a big framework basically that the ride would sit on instead of like individual footers like a traditional coaster. And then we also saw things like an access door on the side where you could definitely fit coaster trains inside. So all them different things pointing towards a coaster. From our sources, we'd heard that it was a coaster all along anyway and not another form of dark ride. And obviously by the time this opens, there'll be long overdue another big major roller coaster at the park. Definitely, it'll have been like over 8 years between coasters since Wicker Man and the new junior coaster in 2026. By the time this opens, we could be knocking on 10 years, which is a long time in the history of Alton Towers, the longest we've ever waited between major coasters, which is quite interesting. So we got that full plan application. We saw all the details, like the queue line, and also the fact that we're going to extend the pathway out from in between Walliams and the dungeon to create this new little plaza area. And then it was February last year, so 2023, when planning permission was approved. It didn't seem to take that long to get approval. There was a few conditions, as a lot of the time with plan applications, but approval was given in February 2023, and we all thought, fantastic. You know, they've got the permission to build. Originally, we'd heard that this was a 2025 project. Obviously, that timeline's changed. I'll talk about that in a few moments' time. But yeah, it was February 2023 when the application was approved. And then really, that was the last update we had on this project. We all thought, fantastic. You know, we're looking good. Construction is probably going to start the middle of 2023. They were saying it's a 78-week construction period, 2 years total, including land clearance. So the last update I filmed on this, we were all thinking, yeah, it's probably still going to open in 2025. How wrong were we? I think that was definitely the original intention, but as we all know, Alton Towers hasn't really had the strongest couple of years when it comes to not really attendance, but guest spending. I spoke about this in the video I filmed about Merlin about a month back here on the channel, about how things at Merlin aren't doing too well at the moment. And this all comes down to, I think, why we're seeing this project delayed from when it was originally planned. Everything was lined up for this to be a 2025 project, 2026 at the latest. Whereas obviously now it's definitely been pushed back again with different developments, and that necessarily isn't a bad thing, especially, you know, the fact that the park hasn't had the best couple of years in terms of operations and things as well, the lack of flat rides. I think, you know, maybe postpone it a year and putting in the flat ride for next year was a good decision. I think we could have done with a few flat rides for next year, really, not just one, but still putting in a flat ride. Project Ocean down in Forbidden Valley is a good call, and I'm very, very pleased that they did decide to do that. And of course, it's looking fantastic, isn't it? I mean, doesn't it look great, the top spin there? Like, really excited to get on that next year. They have now confirmed it's going to be opening in spring 2025 as well. So we're expecting that for the start of the season in March. which will be fantastic. But there we go. So in terms of Project Horizon then, we've got all these different reasons about why it could have been delayed, but ultimately it looks like now, based on the timeline, we've got the flat ride for next season, we've got the junior coaster hopefully subject to planning permission for 2026. I highly doubt this is going to open alongside that in 26. Construction would really already need to be underway for that. I think it's going to be a 2027 project here. Now, if that is the case, obviously it means we're not too far away from seeing land clearance and major construction starting next year. Now, what's really interesting is, as of right now, December 2024, there has been an update to Project Horizon, and that has been an updated woodland management plan has been approved, and that was submitted earlier this year. I think it was back in February, March time. That was submitted, and that has now been approved as of a few weeks ago. That is a sign that this project is very much active and is still on. For the people that were thinking, oh, has this been cancelled? Are Chessington getting it instead? Not at all. This is very much still going on. Alton Towers have got permission to build that massive show building. They're not going to waste that opportunity. Like in the past, they've struggled with applications. I was surprised they managed to get the permission for this, so easy, to be honest. I think maybe even they were thinking, we've got it quicker than they thought. And that could be another thing. Maybe, it was always planned to be a little bit later as well. That is certainly an option. We'd heard originally it was a 2025 project, but it could have always been planned to be a little bit later. But they thought maybe they were going to have some more hurdles with the plan application. But no, here we are. December 2024, we've got the updated woodland management plan, which to me suggests that we're close to work happening. I personally think this is going to be a 2027 opening, based on everything we're hearing now, and that will mean that we're going to see clearance starting maybe early next year, and along with that, major construction starting by the summer next year, ready for a 2027 opening, 78-week construction period, which is very exciting. Now, if it was to open in 2027, that's 9 years since there was last a major coaster at Alton Towers, and that was Wicker Man. So yeah, it'd be long overdue. I'm very pleased to see that we'd be getting an indoor coaster. I think that would fit beautifully. I mean, today I'm just looking out here at the World of Theme Parks and the weather is terrible. So it'd be lovely to have an indoor coaster. But also, let's just think about Chessington. And this is where the two projects could be related. In the past, we have seen theme park companies and Tussauds, that of course used to be, Merlin bought Tussauds and created this big company. Well, back in the day, the parks were owned by Tussauds, and they did quite a few like double deals and things in the past. One of the biggest ones was Spinball Whizzer at Alton Towers and Dragon's Fury at Chessington World of Adventures from the same manufacturer, Mara. They opened at the same time, and also that saved on construction parts, effectively. The fact that, they could bring all the materials over in one go and get like a double deal, so to speak, like from the manufacturer. And obviously they were built by the different teams still. But I thought that was really interesting how they did that double deal. Could we potentially be seeing something similar here? Obviously, it looks like with Chessington's coaster, we're getting an Intamin multi-dimension coaster inside there. It makes me think, could we be seeing an Intamin multi-dimension coaster here for Alton Towers? Obviously, a very different layout to what Chessington's doing. But still, it looks like to me we could be seeing a very similar ride. If you put two and two together, Intamin was always to be one of the rumoured manufacturers. I think they were looking at quite a few different manufacturers for this building, what they wanted to put in there. But Intamin was always one of the main front runners for this. So it wouldn't surprise me now. Could we be seeing a double deal? Merlin would save some money as well. They get two major coasters, one at Chessington, which of course we know is going to be Minecraft themed, expected for 2027, and then whatever the theme's going to be for the Alton Towers indoor coaster. But this is by no means confirmation, but this is just putting two and two together, thinking about things realistically and things that have happened in the past. We could be seeing them both open in the same year, and from the same manufacturer, Intamin, with this. Let's just talk about themes, shall we? I mean, there's all sorts of rumours and things going around, or has been over the past year, about themes for it. A lot of people seem to think it could be a space theme. I'm leaning towards that, maybe like a fantasy kind of space theme. There was other people that have heard things like, we could be seeing like the outside of this building looking very kind of like waterfalls and rocks, kind of thing like Pandora, Animal Kingdom, that sort of style. I certainly don't think we're going to be seeing an IP for this, or at least I hope not. I think we're going to be seeing an original theme. It's Alton Towers after all. It doesn't need IPs to survive. People love the original stories. Look at Nemesis Reborn, what a success that's been this year with the story and the theme. So I'd love to see it original. But yeah, maybe like a space theme. Obviously, originally Galactica was going to be losing its space theme for next year. Then plans got cut back because of the recent cutbacks. But obviously, maybe that was the plan. You know, Galactica losing the space theme so they could have this new space theme at the other side of the park. Black Hole was always a fantastic ride in the park's history. An indoor coaster that used to be down in X Sector, was there for many, many years, and I was so sad when it closed in the mid-2000s. So I think it's one of them. You know, space has always been popular with Alton Towers. Galactica's never really worked, so maybe they could do space properly with Project Horizon. But still, they're all the updates that we've got, all the official things that we know, some rumours in there as well chucked in, and yeah, let's just see what happens with this project. If all goes to plan though, we'll see some clearance happening on that site early next year, construction hopefully starting next year, and if it does, 2027 is looking like our opening date for the next major coaster at Alton Towers. But still, back-to-back coaster years, Junior Coaster 26, this 27, but at the end of the day, I could still be back here in a year's time recording this update, saying it's going to be 2028. Let's hope not though, because that would be 10 years between a major coaster at Alton Towers. As always, thank you so much for watching. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, give the video a big thumbs up if you enjoy watching, and of course, very, very Christmas to each and every one of you as well. That leaves me with one final thing to say. Get out there and keep on riding. See you in the next video.